Hello everybody, and today we're going to be looking at two models from the 2025 Game of the Year winner, Clair Obscur Expedition 33. And we'll be starting off with Lune. Coming in at 250,000 triangles and about 138k faces, bringing it closer to the other 9th gen models we've looked at on this channel, it's pretty clear that these models are very heavy on polygonal density. And for the sake of my third world processor, we will be looking at the untriangulated models. But as you can see, the difference in topology between the triangulated and untriangulated models is a little bit daunting. Even without the triangulation though, you can still see a very stark difference in the polygonal density between the skin and the clothes, which is pretty common, but it's way stronger in this Clair Obscur models. That's because the base mesh of these characters was actually made in Unreal Engine 5's MetaHuman, which is a plugin or an addition to it that allows you to create characters within the game engine. See, this makes me in particular very happy to see such a large scale and successful IP use a character builder, because I had this awful misconception that using character builders is somehow cheating when it comes to 3D, which is not the case at all. My channel's mascot's base mesh was made using MB Lab, Manuel Bastioni Lab, along with the other character you may have seen on this channel. I don't use MB Lab anymore because of some licensing stuff, and I also want to start making intellectual properties for commercial purposes, which is why I switched back to Make Human, which is the one I actually started with, because it's got a really cool Blender add-on and it's all around just better than NB Lab, I feel. But I only use it for base meshes. I create the textures and shaders for myself so that they can look unique, but to you, starting off 3D artist, as long as you don't plagiarize somebody else's work and follow whatever licensing agreement the character building software has, it doesn't matter if you're using DAZ, Character Creator, Genesis 8, Make Human, it's perfectly fine. Now, away from the tangent and back to the model. Despite the little weird artifacts you get from untriangulating it in Blender, you can still see that this model has some beautiful edge flow. And because of all the power that the 9th gen brings, almost everything has been modeled in. Which brings us to the next topic, which is the design. As always, to get a good read of the model, we untriangulate and separate the parts by material. And let's start with this maze of hair cards, which comes in 2 layers. The main hair and the additional random strands that add that extra layer of realism because of how real hair works. Even when you comb it, those extra ones will still stand out simply because, hair moves and kinetic energy and friction and stuff like that. Without it, it looks fine, but with it, it looks even better. It adds a bit more realism. Now, is this extra realism worth the 20 to 40k polygons it comes with? I don't know, but the same deal goes with the eyebrows and the eyelashes. So, yeah, we're not really gonna get into that right now. But from what remains of the base mesh, it's divided up by the materials in a very interesting way. But by taking a look at the UV space, you understand why it's like this. See, when the UVs are set up this way, this is a clear indication of the use of UDIMs, of which I explained how they work in my Oblivion comparison video. So if you're interested, you could go check it out. But just to gloss it over, it allows you to use multiple UV spaces for a single shader, allowing you to add as many textures at whatever size without limitation. But wait! Guys, I think I might actually be an idiot. I think I might be stupid. It's divided up like this because I split it up by material, and so it followed the seams and the UVs when it got unwrapped. Duh. Nah. Sometimes I really do be doing it to myself. Let me be honest. But anyway, back to the design. The outfit is made up of 10 parts, namely the shirt and pants, or the trousers, the shirt of which it's missing its back polygons because, the jacket is over them, the said jacket that comes in 2 parts, the top and the bottom, separated for what I assume is texture space reasons or, UV space reasons. Putting both of them, the top and the bottom, on one UV space would mean making them smaller and thus reducing the amount of detail that you can add. And that's the one thing these models really got going for it, the tiny little details. She also has a glove on the one hand that has a similar topology to the arm itself, to the base mesh itself. This is because when it comes to making skin-tight clothing, it's much easier to just duplicate and extrude the mesh and then use that as a base to build out whatever skin-tight clothing you want. But she also has these very neat looking little rings, of which the topology is actually pretty interesting if you check it out. But still, the metallic maps and the roughness doing the most. The top part that is named jacket, but I'm not sure what to call it. Kind of looks like a poncho thingy. But I remember I called Emma Frost's coattails offhangs, and I never forgave myself for that. So if someone can tell me exactly what this part is called, I would be very happy. But the remaining three could be considered accessories, like this necklace and this armband. But my personal favorite part of this model is this belt. Okay. All these little details, like the part holding it together, the book on the holster, and the little buckles got me geeking, boy. I could look at this all day, like, and I'm not even playing. I'm being dead ass here. I mean, I'm being serious. I'd also like to speak on the shirt and pants. I love these little belts and these little bands on the trousers, which are modeled in. They really enhance the silhouette, but also take a look at how they made these buckles. You know, looking at models like this really shows me that 3D modeling it's not complicated at all. You know, the quickest solution usually ends up being the best one in terms of modeling and optimization. And you know, that's well, in terms of modeling. Okay, optimization is a whole other story. I don't want to get into that. Oh, and the necklace is also fully modeled too, like the little parts in between. I mean, I feel like this probably wasn't necessary. You know, you could achieve the same effect if you just make it one solid block with like transparency on it. But hey, you know what? Until I win Game of the Year, I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna just shut my face all the way up. Now, let's talk about the textures and shaders for a bit. Being a Unreal Engine model, it has the ORM setup. This is the occlusion, roughness, and metallic method of shading that I explained at length in the Emma Frost model review, but it also has a diffuse and normal maps. The textures range between 1 to 2K depending on the importance, but one really cool thing about this model is how they made the hands, the feet, and the writing on her face glow in real time. It's super easy. Here, I'll explain. The hands, feet, and face have a texture file labeled E that I immediately realized stands for emission, and this is a mask for what parts should glow and what parts shouldn't. A quick trick I use to understand how masks work is that full white is 1 and full black is 0, so everything in between is, you know, gray. So parts that you want to be seen should be on the white parts, and the parts you don't want to be seen should fall on the black. The golden patterns on her hand here are hard black because they aren't supposed to glow. They aren't supposed to react to the emission, but the glow lessens as you move up the arm, which is why it, you know, starts to become gray and then ends off being fully black. So you just plug this mask into your emission shader and you're done. You know, when you light up the emission shader, only the parts of the mask that are white are gonna light up. How cool is that, huh? It's pretty neat. I also connected the skin shaders to I connected the skin shaders alpha channel to the subsurface weight node, and it made it look really cool. Gave it this really sweet looking subsurface scattering. The models themselves don't have dedicated subsurface maps, so I thought of just trying this out, and it came out pretty cool. Now, all in all, I love the design of this model, but I think they could achieve the same level of detail and quality with like half the polygon count, or, you know, but hey, again, I'm no Threat Interactive, so, you know, I suggest you go watch his video explaining why this game is so horrifically optimized graphically, because I approach these videos from like a purely artistic standpoint, but, you know, in terms of just design, oh my god, I'm gonna need a new pair of pants. I love this design so much. Now let's go look at Renoir's model. Now, I've not played this game just yet, but from the cursory research that I did, I learned that Renoir is some kind of like really OP boss fight. But in terms of polygon count, Renoir's model is actually twice as heavy as Lune's model, you know, coming in at 500k and 200k, 500k triangles and 200k polygons. But I want to talk about this model for two reasons. One, this is the first game model I've seen not using hair cards for hair, but just straight up geometry. I mean, yeah, do y'all even respect your processors? Like, oh my god, you know, I don't know why this is the case though. What is it, so that it reacts to the wind better? Is it I can't tell, because like the rest of his head, the eyebrows, the head on his hair, the hair on his head, all being done by hair cards, but his beards are individually modeled. So yeah, if somebody could, some legend could hop in the comment and explain why that is, I'll pin your comment so fast. But to get down to the design of it, Renoir's model is made up of like 7 main segments: his top and bottom, the coat, the hair on his head, and the facial hair. But the real showstoppers here are this top and coat. I love these golden accents against the black, along with the wrist parts that are also golden. But they also made the interior of it too. They textured the interior part of the coat and blazer, which just takes this whole design to like a whole new level. Really makes it feel regal. Feels good. The chain to this beautiful little gold piece on his shirt is actually the first time I see them use transparency in a part of the hair, in a part of the model that's not the hair. The hair on his head though is just a single layer of hair cards, so it's not really nothing much to write home about. I also wanted to mention the skin shaders on his hands look really good. Like, they nailed this old man hands look with the cavities that add those weird blue veins that old people get. And just to close off this segment and the video as a whole, I'm just going to gawk at how cool this dude's outfit is for a little bit. Okay, the golden highlights, the stitching, the rings. Oh my god, let's just have a look at this, okay? Because these models look really gorgeous. But as I said, in terms of optimization, whole different story. Now, in conclusion, despite some questionable choices here and there, I really do love these models. They're really nice. It seems like the industry is leaning more towards graphical fidelity at the expense of performance, which, for a guy like me sounds great, but, must be awful for people who truly do care about game and graphical optimization. So what I'm saying is go watch and subscribe to Threat Interactive, okay? They're really trying to make a tangible difference in this whole industry. And I'd like to think that, even if I brought one new set of eyes to their mission and what they do, then I'd be happy with myself. So yeah, check out Thresh Interactive. They're the best. But I'll be seeing you guys next week. And thank you for your time and your viewership. Bye.